So I'm going to start off here on the daily and take a look at the levels I'm keeping an eye on. I'm going to alarm all these as well, but these are the main price action levels that I'm keeping an eye on. I usually go by the wicks. I like to have a nice area here. So I'm not really looking for pinpoint at this scale or this size out here. What I'm really looking for is a move down into these areas. I'm looking to see how PA reacts within these areas. So I know a lot of people put down, support resistances, all that stuff, because you don't know which one's going to hold. Well, that's true. But if you know how to read the price action, the best you can get is clues. And that's all I'm really looking for is clues when we get in there. I'm going to stack clues on clues on clues until I got a good case to make entry on a trade. So that's how I build up things. Right now, these are my major levels. Obviously, the further down we go, the worst for the bulls. Right now, the main section I'm seeing, and of course, everyone's eyeing up the same thing at this point, is 52.6. So if we do end up breaking some of these lows, and I'll dig a little bit deeper on the smaller time frames, but if we do start heading down here, these are areas to start looking for reactions at least. Just the level side here. So I'm going to alarm these. These are going to be on my charts. Just keep track of where I think what I think is going on over here at the larger picture, because I'm not always on the daily. I'm usually a lot deeper down. But these are going to be the areas to look for that have played as support and resistances in the past. The other thing I want to show here at this time frame is this nice little channel we have. So basically, I have it as a pitchfork now. I have it as a modified shift, which is basically just a channel. We're out here on the log scale again. I'm not much of a lumberjack. I'm not on the log scale very much. I just check in every now and then to see what's going on. Because again, I'm usually on smaller time frames. But as we can see here, this channel or this pitchfork here has been playing as support and resistance on the way up as well. So we have some support here, support here. We have some resistance here that turn into a little bit of support. Again, for me, these geometry lines and all that stuff can play to the tick, but I'm really looking for how they react in the area. Like for here, we have moves down here and we get sharp reactions off. So that's of interest to me. So as you can see, again, played as resistance up here, support, support, and now we broke underneath that and it's playing as resistance here on the smallest little degree. I'm going to be keeping an eye on this as well as another little piece of geometry to add to the confluence in this area if we do come down to it. Again, we'll have to see how it all works out. If we, as far as the count goes, if we think this is part of the way forward, this larger degree, we could come down to the 5382. There is some discrepancy between log and arithmetic as to where that actually is. So we could be coming back down here. If this is a wave 4 of the lesser degree, a wave 4 of the larger degree can come down here and find support. And that's down at 40K. And usually it's at the termination point. So if you think this is the wave 4 of the lesser degree, we're dealing with the wave 4 of the larger degree, there's possibility that we're going to be coming between 50K and 40K and potentially find support on this structure here. Again, we have the fib support here as well. Since this is a sideways, again, usually in alternation, we're looking for something sharp to play off of it. And that's why initially I was thinking, and I still keeping this in the back of my head too, that we have a flat here, and then we're going to be looking for a sharp move in the wave 4 as something that will usually happen. Doesn't happen all the time. You can get flats on flats for 2 and 4. But for right now, that would be the alternation look at this, is that we have a flat here in this potential wave 2, if this is a wave 2. And for the wave 4, we would do something flat, or we would do some sideways triangle that doesn't breach the high here. So just as long as we keep tightening up here, this could still be a wave 4. If we start breaking down, I think we got potential that we're putting in a larger degree of sharp wave 4 to this flat sideways wave 2. For that count, I think I would count this as probably looks like a diagonal to me, and then retrace a nice deep retrace, and then we're going down for the C wave coming down to here. Again, this isn't very clean up here, but we'll dive into that. Out here on the daily again, these are my levels. if we do end up dropping down here, this is be like the next level I'm looking for a reaction. It's deep, I know, but that's what I'm buying up for now. Because the wave count is a little unclear, my targets are going to be a little unclear as well. But as far as support and resistances go, this is where I'm looking. Down here on the 4-hour, I'm going to keep this pretty brief. I'm going to dive right into the 1-hour, look for the setup I'm looking at right now. But as you can see here, even at this larger degree, we've only been putting in lower highs and lower lows at this degree. So right now the trend is officially down, I would say, because we haven't been able to make a higher high here. So this would be the nice trend line above here that we have to break. So right now we're dealing with some higher lows and higher highs. So this is another area to add to this section over here. Let me put this. So this could play as resistance or support down here, depending on the high. It's different on Coinbase. It's different on Binance. So what we're really looking for is a potential for this to play as support if it does end up reaching down here. I did also have this channel down here, and looks like we got a reaction off of it. If this is the initial actionary wave, and this is the retrace, and we're looking for another actionary wave down here to complete this pattern, whatever it may be, a zigzag or whatnot, then this could come in handy down here. So we do have a 1-to-1 down there as well. That's in the area of this channel. So if we do have some diagonal and this is some crazy correction, and this is the secondary actionary wave coming down, we do have some support in this area. And we are pretty close to the initial level that I was watching here at 52.6. So look, down here on the 1-hour, this is really what I wanted to go over. Videos ago, again, we were looking for either a move up out of a diagonal or move down, a reaction off here in an impulsive manner or a swift manner, a correction back to this area, and then a look for a C3 setup, hopefully a 3 setup back to at least the middle of the range. Well, it didn't even have enough juice to get us that high. So it's played out pretty good as far as the zigzag is concerned. I think this looks good. It's got the look. We got the swift move up in the A, followed by a correction, and then a lazy, more complex looking potential impulsive move up here. Looks pretty textbook for a zigzag at this point. I think the only hopium thing I'm seeing here, and I have it labeled out for the bulls right now, is that this is some flat. So if I dig in here a little bit, we can see we're missing some moves and some swings to make this officially an impulse. It at least leaves some doubt of what we're actually looking at here. So this move, of course, not a super ideal impulsive wave move up, not a swift move up. We got some corrective structures in here. Is this a diagonal? Is this a WXY? Is this a ABC of some sort? So this could be some flat. We have an impulsive move up, ABC for the A, ABC for the B. Right now, if we look in here, we can see an impulsive move up, corrective move, and then we get another impulsive move up, but we're missing some waves in here. So we can see a nice move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we don't have anything that really offsets this unless you look to here. We could have some double zigzag here that we just completed, and or we could have a potential for a flat here, and that would be the bull hopium count at this point. Again, this has to prove itself before we can confirm anything. I'm going to go over how we do that. But for right now, I think this does look like a pretty good zigzag 3-wave move, pretty much textbook. So some of the attributes here I'm seeing for the wave for this to be, so some other attributes I'm seeing for this to be a flat potential as far as the copium goes, is that we have a 3-wave move down here. We have a potential for a 3-wave move up here since we're missing some offsets here, some corrective offsets. So one thing I want to check here real time is just the angle. So this does look a little bit sharper in corrections and flats. We do like to see the B wave to be a little more lazier and less steep than the A wave. It's just a guideline. But we hit the 3A2 and now we came back down, and I took the length of the A wave to the B wave and went for the C wave, and we hit the 618 to the tick. So again, some hopium. If this is going to be some flat here and we're going to dig our way out and head on up to potentially a 1-to-1 of this move here, first thing we have to do is start flipping these lower lows and lower highs into support. The first area right here is going to be this level that we have to beat, that played as support all these times in the past. So if we can, and it's playing as resistance right now. So this is an area we have to beat to actually, before we can consider some bounce or some up move is coming. So what I'd want to see, if this is the right count, is a move up, a correction down, and then looking for a little bit of a long here for me personally, to look for a potential bounce or a C3 setup up. This is a flat. Again, it could just be a corrective pattern for another zigzag or something to offset this move we had down over here that was a little bit longer and deeper and uncertain. I mean, or this could be a 1, 2, and we're heading up. So we're going to have to see how that goes. It all depends on this low holding at the moment, which, so I'll have to wait and see if we can get up and out of here or if we head down here first. Again, as always, when it comes to levels for me, it doesn't really matter. I like to see a reaction off of this that I can play off, some clarity I can use. So if we end up coming back down here and breaking this low, I want to see how we react from there. We're going to come back up, back into the range again, and do some corrective wave for another initial move up. Or are we going to break down and then come back to this level and find it as resistance before we get another move down? So right now we do have to need some completion here on this move. So again, right now, to be sure that this swift move down is coming to an end here, we actually have to start breaking some of these lower highs and lower lows. This sideways is conducive to a wave 4 potentially, so maybe we are putting in a wave 4 and we have some wave 2s up here that we're going to have to deal with and offset up here. So right now, it's going to be a waiting game to see if we're going to get, first of all, a move back into this area that has played as support in the past, but is now showing to play as resistance. If we can break up above that and find this as support again, that might lean to us heading up for at least a little bit of a correction back to 62,402. If we do end up breaking down, again, it all depends on how we come back up. So the more of these levels we break, the more, and we can't break back above it, the more further down I'm going to be looking for this stuff to play out. These moves are pretty swift here in this little leg down, so I wouldn't want to see anything too big. If we start getting like some big long sideways thing here, that's going to be suspicious. We should be wrapping this thing up here pretty shortly. Maybe at 2 o'clock, we do have some news showing up. So we should have to wrap this thing up here shortly if we're not going to extend further down and we're going to go up for an internal correction at the minimum. We should be ending it here pretty soon. And then I'd be looking for some impulsive wave up, correction to one of these levels, into confluence and all that fun stuff before we get a move up to at least an internal correction. And then we're going to be going back to the same scenario that I went over in my past videos, where if we get a reaction like this off the level or out of an area of interest, then we're watching for the retrace, trying to play the retrace, and then watching how the PA prints. If the PA prints like this, I'm going to be looking at this like it's a C wave. If we end up going straight up to the moon and blasting up, or wave 3. So just to break everything down again, I'm really looking for 2 things at this point. I want to see if this level is going to play as resistance, and then we're going to head back down, and then this level is going to be the next level of question. If we end up breaking down here, how are we going to react under here? Are we going to play as resistance again, or is it going to play as support, and we're going to come back up, and then I'll be looking for support on this side. So it all depends how we print out here to the downside. And I'll be looking for a potential to play a continuation down, because right now we have the 3-wave move up and we got the swift move pointing down. So I'm still looking down at this point. Again, if I can switch it up pretty quick here on the 1 hour, depending on how the PA prints. But I'm really looking for these next levels and how they're going to play. Eventually, we're going to find a bottom somewhere down here. We're going to find We're going to get a reaction out of a level or area of interest, and then we're watching for how the PA comes back out of that area of interest, and then looking for a retrace for potential corrective move back in here in this impulsive range, but depending on where it ends, whenever it decides to end, and then I'm going to be looking for an internal correction for another move down here. So end of day, I really think we have some impulse move down here. I'm waiting for this to finish. Depending on where it finishes, I'm going to be looking for internal retracement for possible continuation down. These levels are going to play as confluence for me at the moment. So if the wave count adds up, we get some reaction off these levels, we get some fibs, some imbalances, some liquidity sweeps like we just did here, and we start heading up, then I'm going to be looking for a long. Again, it's all about the season threes. Right now we played this, we got a nice zigzag here as an anchor, and now we've broken that, so this can no longer be a 1-2, 1-2 or an AB 1-2, 3 for the C, anything like that. We have only have a couple options here. Either we're going to be putting in some zigzag here for more potential sideways type issues, type trickery, or we're going to be heading down for further downside. So it all depends on this correction here. If we do get something like this, again, I'll be looking for a move down. Doesn't matter if it's a C or a 3 to me. On the shorter time frame, my investment side is going to hate it, but my trading side is going to love it, just as long as we can stay nice and clean and clear in this area. That's what I'm thinking about here on BTC. That's all I got for today. Please like, subscribe, show me some love if you found this insightful. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, leave a comment down below. And thanks for watching. Trade safe, trade clarity.